Here on the ground, change happens fast. Problems feel frequent and urgent. It's loud and anxiety runs high. From a satellite view, the Earth looks the same as it did thousands of years ago. We've been here before. Let's learn from our past and shoot for a better future.
Your reaction to this jobs report?
Very good, Maria. The household employment was actually up almost 500,000. The unemployment rate fell. The work week was stable. It looks really good right now. Certainly better than consensus expectations. Better than a lot of other data might suggest. The PMIs, for example, the purchasing manager surveys suggest there should be weakening employment. So at least for March, things look good. Even if we look at the private sector, job growth over 200,000. If I take out healthcare, still looking at private ex-healthcare of around 150. It's a good number, no question.
Well, it's a good number, but is it too good?
Yeah, it's too good. The economy is too good now, and that's Biden's fault. The great economy is devastating for Biden because he's president right now, right? Okay, by the way, you're listening to A Satellite View. I'm Todd Mikkelson, the host, speaking at you from Sunday, April 14th in the Space and Time Continuum, the year 2024. Election year. So yeah, it's too good. The economy is too good. Oops. Way to go, Biden. Yeah, this is all Fox News has. As you could hear, that guy went through this very detailed list of things that are all really good in the March report on the economy. The jobs report, but more than just jobs. Everything seems to be great, even though it's a mistake because it's too good. Biden doesn't know how to do anything. So now he made an economy that is too good. But the reason that it's so good is because all of the money people who are in the markets and employers are all thinking, well, I'm going to make the economy really great right now because Trump is coming.
I just wonder if maybe the market is pricing in a little bit, and employers too, the idea that maybe we're going to get a new president in November.
We'll see. Does that work into your looking at markets, the idea that we could see policy changes next year? What do you think?
Trump is going to be in the White House again. That's why the economy is getting so good. I feel so good about the fact that Trump is going to be president again that I'm playing my part in making the economy good. Okay. Anything that's good, you cannot give the Democrats credit for. That's what we see from Fox News and the GOP. Now, the stock market has been record-breaking for quite a long time now, except in one little part of the stock market. Reading from Forbes magazine, the highly progressive Forbes is a money magazine. It's the one that Trump always tried to get himself listed as one of the most rich people in the world by lying to Forbes magazine. We've found that all out in court now. Here's what Forbes writes. Do not wait. These storm clouds are not going to dissipate. Atop the previously discussed negative facts are these destructive issues. Insider infighting over stock holdings, competing insider shareholder lawsuits, first insiders now want to sell, feeble response by the Trump media CEO Nunes. That's right. We're talking about whatever it's called. DJT now on the stock market. It's the Trump media mess, which the main item that it's known for is Truth Social, which is a cheap ripoff of Twitter that is tanking hard. It's tanking very hard. We talked about it a little bit last week or the week before. Last year, it made $4.1 million. Hey, that sounds great. Oops. But it lost $58 million. Its expenses were $58 million. All right. Like we said last time or the time before, whenever it was, billionaires' math ain't mathin'. Billionaires math doesn't math. There are more things listed in this Forbes article as to why it's really bad. This teetering tower of negative issues is a perfect reason for a mass shareholder exodus. The bottom line, protect your capital by selling now. Beat the coming sellers to the exit. It's probably already too late for that. This article's from a couple days ago. This stock remains significantly overpriced, with a book value under $2. A price-to-sales ratio of over 25 times, a large negative profit margin, we just mentioned that, and a negative price-to-earnings ratio. All of the new shares will make the negative fundamental picture even worse. It goes on, it's kind of talks like to money people, so it doesn't really even make a whole lot of sense to me. But that's Forbes magazine telling you, if you currently own shares, get rid of them. It has tanked apparently more than 60%. By the way, here's a question that Trump has for you.
Are you better off than you were 4 years ago? I don't think so.
Still doing it. Did not get the memo from the GOP saying, please stop asking the question, are you better off now than you were 4 years ago? Please stop it. He can't stop. He put his blackface on and recorded that 2 or 3 nights ago when he made something like 14 or 15 videos all in one night, in the middle of the night, all through the night. Trump is up videoing with his blackface on. It's still white around his eyes and about a half inch in front of his ears, and his ears. He doesn't put the makeup on his ears. And it's become more brown than orange. I've told you a while ago that he's like, I love brown people. Look at me. I'm a brown person. I'm very brown. Some say the brownest, the likes of which has never been seen. His own auditor, Ben Borgers, put out the report that said, okay, this is really, really bad. Truth Social made $4.1 million last year, but its expenses added up to over $58 million. And he said, I really don't see how this can remain a company, basically, not in so many words, but he wrote that in his report. And the Ben Borgers company, it's kind of insane. BF Borgers, that's the actual name of the company, ran by Ben Borgers. He's the only guy who's the face of the company. BF Borgers' inspection record is among the worst of the hundreds of audit firms overseen by the PCAOB, showing a 100% deficiency rate in each of the past 2 years. Examiners found flaws in 21 of 21 audits they sampled. Okay. This is really full of huge problems. Okay, so yeah, Trump asks that question because he's not doing as well now as he was 4 years ago. So again, it's just more projection. Are you better off now than you were 4 years ago? I don't think so. No, you're not better off now than you were 4 years ago. The New York Attorney General may start collecting Trump assets if he fails to post a bond by next Monday. Now, that was the news weeks ago, but now it's the news again. Because the bond that he put up, the $175 million bond that he put up, has not been accepted yet. And he hasn't redone it. He hasn't solved that problem yet. And you know when the cutoff is? Tomorrow. Tomorrow. The same day that his first criminal trial begins. So no, Trump is not better off now than he was 4 years ago. And then we're seeing now that's why he has it on his mind, what's left of his mind. And that's why he keeps repeating that the Republicans wished that he would stop. Paul Golden, author of Litigating Constructive Trusts and a partner at New York law firm Coffee Modica, told Newsweek, which I'm reading from, that either Trump or a bond company must file a motion by Monday stating that they have a $175 million bond in place. Presumably, if the motion fails, the Attorney General will take the position that the bond is without effect and that the Attorney General may start to take collection efforts, Golden said. So, tomorrow, Letitia James is ready again, like she was 2 weeks ago, I think it was, to start taking assets from Trump. It might not be really sexy stuff like Mar-a-Lago and Trump Tower. It might be bank accounts and different things like that. But the bond that he put up, and I talked a lot about this in the last show, so if you want to go back and listen to that, we go through the details of this company who put up the bond doesn't have the money to put up the bond. When they first put up the bond, they didn't even submit their own financial papers. They then had to redo it, and it was then revealed that they don't have enough money. I mean, they're like, I think it was 50,000 short, or 50 million. Jesus, 50 million short. So the bond has not been accepted, and the cutoff date is tomorrow. Again, he successfully delayed things for another 10 days. And who knows? It's possible he could appeal this thing that's going to happen tomorrow. I don't know. But Trump is going down. He's going down. He apparently got scraped up enough money for another rally in Pennsylvania yesterday, Saturday, the 13th of April. Wow. His cognitive decline is accelerating, probably because of all this pressure.
Because I'm not doing as well today as I was 4 years ago. I don't know about you, but things are going really bad for me right now.
The stress will kill you, you know? He's really declining. He had tons of weirdness going on. He called the company American Steel. Twice in a row, American Seal. He left the T out. He read it on a teleprompter and said American Seal. And then when he realizes he said it wrong, he tries to interrupt himself. And then he said it again, but he again said American Seal. Things like that. Oh man, there were some other words that he just mutilated, again, more than once. Not just sort of tripped over his tongue. It's in his brain wrong. He's really going down. And this, so much more. Let's take a short break and be right back on A Satellite View.
Someone who has said that if my choices in this election are Donald Trump and Joe Biden, then I will have no choice but to vote for Joe Biden, because to me, it's not a lesser of two evils situation. There is no comparison here. Even if I don't like the policies of the Biden administration, I'm willing to put that aside because I know that Donald Trump is a danger to our democracy and that he is unfit to ever serve as president again. And so I'm going to do everything I can and use my voice and my platform in order to educate the American people about this threat, but that I hope that will inspire other Republican elected officials and former Trump administration officials to feel comfortable to come forward and speak that truth too, because I think that we have a duty to the American people to educate them.
That is former Trump aide Sarah Matthews. She worked in the White House with Trump, and that's what she's saying. But there are 18 cabinet members who are basically saying this same thing. Now, they're not saying it enough. They're not saying it on TV like she's wishing they would. But John Brennan, who is the former CIA director, this is super interesting to me. Brennan is saying this in an interview with a Belgian broadcaster, RTBF. He says, I think that Trump didn't believe what we were telling him, and he was especially trying to find out how we knew what we knew about Russian interference in the 2016 election. And this is still John Brennan talking. According to me, he was not qualified at the time, and he is not qualified today. We could see in particular that he did not understand the importance of the United States' relations with our foreign allies and partners. He has little recognition for the transatlantic relationship for NATO. Brennan also criticized Trump for not supporting Ukraine in its war against the murderous invading Russian state. He's concerned that Trump could stop sharing American intelligence with Ukraine and or cut off financial and military aid entirely. He further says, and that would give Vladimir Putin the green light to try to almost swallow up Ukraine. And unfortunately, I think it'll encourage Putin to look hungrily toward the rest of Europe. And then Trump puts on his blackface and talks about abortion rights. The talk had kind of simmered down, and I'm sure the Republicans were happy about that. And then Trump puts on his blackface, makes a video.
Many people ask me what my views are on abortion rights.
He kind of says both things. He's like, I got rid of Roe v. Wade, but we got to be careful when we talk about a total ban. He's basically saying we need to get reelected. I need to get reelected. So I can't go too far on this. This is his whole, we can make everybody happy. No, we can't. Can't make everybody happy on this. Women need to have the right to a safe abortion as part of their health care. Women are dying because the Republicans have taken away access to safe abortions for women. Many, many more women will die if the Republicans get their way. Trump has said in the past that he will sign a total abortion ban. He will sign it. And you got to believe him the first time. Now he's kind of trying to have it both ways. And other MAGAs are as well. That's why this episode is Trump and MAGA needs to lie in order to win. They're saying, Sean Hannity, people like that are saying, if Republicans take too strong of a stance on this pro-life issue, they will lose the election. Now, what he doesn't say out loud is, we need to win the election so that we can do a nationwide abortion ban with no exceptions. Now, when Trump put his blackface on and made this video, it just happened that within 48 hours, Arizona passed a complete abortion ban. Their Supreme Court ruled we're going to go back to our original law from even before we were a state. It was originally written in 1864. A complete abortion ban, no exceptions for rape or incest. It's a complete abortion ban in Arizona right now. Jail time for any doctor that helps a woman get reproductive health care in Arizona. 2 to 5 years, I believe it is. Here comes the mass exodus of doctors from Arizona, just like has already happened in a couple other states, or more than a couple. This is what the Republicans are doing. And they're saying, during the election, we need to lie. Tell people what it's like. Trump is going,
okay, who am I talking to right now? I got to figure out which answer.
Because he takes both sides on now like every issue. It depends on who he's talking to. If he's talking to some crazy MAGA, he'll go all the way. Yeah, we need an abortion ban and we need to kill all the women. If he's talking to regular people, he'll say,
I'm very careful about it.
He'll take both sides because he wants to get elected. So he's just lying. He's just lying, and he's telling other people to lie. Sean Hannity is telling other people to lie. Other Republicans, you got to lie during your campaign. Do not tell the truth, or you will lose. Because the vast majority of Americans are not with you if you're a Republican. Therefore, you have to lie during your campaign. Or you'll lose, because most Americans won't vote for you. Okay, but we have a few more minutes. Let's talk about some kind of more fun things. There's, of course, a lot going on. James Comer's back, but he can only show up. He's only getting booked at like 5 a.m. on a show that nobody watches on Fox News. But now he's just fudging the numbers. I think they're down to like $4,000. It's not my fault Biden didn't get millions of dollars. It's not my fault he only ended up with $4,000. And then it's not illegal how he got it, and that he got it when he wasn't even president. It's not my fault. But he's still going on TV for some reason. He can't get booked into a real slot, but he's still going on TV. The charts that he has drawn up now are... This isn't a visual show. You're listening to it, but I wish I could show you this chart. It's a joke. It's a complete joke. He knows he can't impeach Biden. It's not my fault Biden didn't break any laws. It's not my fault he didn't do any crime. Trump wants me to impeach somebody. I can't find anybody to impeach. It's not my fault. And here's the meeting announcement for April 15th, tomorrow. The Committee on Rules, starting up tomorrow. Here's their agenda. H.R. 6192, Hands Off Our Home Appliances Act. H.R. 7673, Liberty in Laundry Act. H.R. 7645, Clothes Dryers Reliability Act. H.R. 7637, Refrigerator Freedom Act, because the refrigerators are not free. We need to free the refrigerators. They're so not free. H.R. 7626, Affordable Air Conditioning Act. H.R. 7700, I guess you would call it, Stop Unaffordable Dishwasher Standards Act. This is what the Republicans want to work on. They're coming back tomorrow. No, they're not talking about trying to get aid to Ukraine. No, they're not talking about that. They're talking about appliances because, yeah, I can't even think of something funny to say because. Also, it has to be mentioned that there are only 2 Republicans that we would need to vote for Jeffries. So here's the scenario. And this is from Daniel Goldman. He's a United States House representative from New York. And other people are saying this. Marjorie Taylor Greene's talking about vacating the speakership again, getting rid of MAGA Mike Johnson. Then what do they need to do? They need to elect a new speaker. The margin has gotten so thin, all we need to do is talk 2 Republicans into voting for Speaker Jeffries, Speaker Hakeem Jeffries. I've been saying this for a while, like, wow, is it possible that we will end up with Speaker Hakeem Jeffries during this term? When the Republicans have the majority, we would have a Democratic Speaker of the House with a Republican majority. And yes, it's possible. Marjorie Taylor Greene, nobody knows if she's going to pull the trigger on her threat. If she does, there's a vote on it. He'll go down. MAGA Mike will be ousted. And then somebody will nominate Hakeem Jeffries. And then they have a vote. And if 2 Republicans go along with the Democrats, we will have a Democratic Hakeem Jeffries speakership during a Republican majority in the House. That's how close we are. Yes, that's how close we are. Couple more funny things that happened. So Jeremy Rosenberg is the name of a guy who I think he's retired now or moved on from working within some intelligence agency. And the Republicans they wanted to subpoena him because of something about him working with Hunter Biden. And that part of the story doesn't matter. But here's what happened. They serve Jeremy Rosenberg with a subpoena at Jeremy Rosenberg's house. Jeremy Rosenberg gets the subpoena and writes an email back saying, okay, I tried calling the phone number on here and it's disconnected and I'm keeping the $15. I don't have the information you're looking for. The reason is because it was the wrong Jeremy Rosenberg. They just, I don't know, they opened up the white pages. They, still have it. And they just picked the first Jeremy Rosenberg. So they subpoenaed some guy. I don't know exactly how the $15 works. I guess you get charged $15 if you're subpoenaed. I don't know how that works, but he said, I'm keeping the $15 and basically screw you. And then this is Trump's lawyers subpoenaed this guy. So he says that back to Trump's lawyers, and then Trump's lawyers complain to the judge saying, this guy's being snarky. He's showing no respect to us. Because they still didn't understand that they got the wrong guy. So finally, it had to be explained to them. Have you ever stopped to think that there is more than one Jeremy Rosenberg living in New York? Did you maybe get the wrong guy? Yeah. How easy would it have been to find the actual Jeremy Rosenberg they were looking for? Wow. Very is the answer. Very easy. And also then Trump puts up a motion to put one of the trials on a stay because it goes against his First Amendment rights. But that goes against his total immunity motion because his immunity is only for what he's doing as president. But his First Amendment rights that's not part of his presidency. That's not part of his job as a president. That's him personally. So in one motion, he's saying he did this just as a regular person, which means he can't get immunity. He shouldn't get immunity anyway, but it goes against his own argument, which he does over and over and over again, just like he goes against himself on many of the issues. You know, he gives you a choice. Okay, I'm for a total ban on abortion, or I'm for complete women's reproductive health care rights all the way to unfettered rights to a safe abortion. I'm for both of those things. So you should vote for me. Okay. All right. And I want to end with something fun here, if I can find it. Yes. This is our hero, Jasmine Crockett, House member from Texas. She was in a hearing with the commissioner of the FDA, kind of asking him questions, but she's also kind of making statements. She makes this very good point.
Would you consider erectile dysfunction as a life-saving usage for Viagra?
Not life-saving.
Not life-saving. Okay, well, I'm going to tell you that based on my research, that mifepristone actually has life-saving characteristics, yet Viagra doesn't. And for those that don't know, Viagra, from my understanding, is actually nearly 10 times greater as it relates to risk of death. Yet for some reason, it's not sitting in the court right now. And I do appreciate the fact that you laid out that when it comes down to getting drugs approved, they actually go through trials. It's not just randomness. You take the randomness, you then say, maybe there's some evidence here, and then you put it through the ringer. After putting it through the ringer for decades, women's lives have been saved. And so with that, thank you for the work that the FDA does. I respect your research. I recognize that the courts don't do research. I also recognize that this chamber seemingly doesn't care about research. But because of the work that you do, there are lives that are being saved, and I need you to be funded to the fullest extent to make sure that we can continue to save American lives. Thank you.
She's talking about mifepristone. Some people call it the abortion pill, that actually most abortions are done that way because the FDA approved this drug more than 20 years ago as being completely safe, a safe way to go about this. And the Republicans are trying to get that ruling that the FDA made almost or more than 20 years ago overturned. And that's what she's talking about here. Of course, she points out that it's quite safe. Nothing is 100% safe, but this is quite safe, and it's been saving women's lives. Does Viagra save a man's life if he has erectile dysfunction? No, it doesn't. It can be dangerous because it's all about sending blood somewhere that you can imagine where. But it also kind of raises your blood pressure. People have had aneurysms and strokes from Viagra. That's what she's talking about. Why then do Republicans not say, hey, this drug is kind of dangerous? Why are they not talking about Viagra? Why are they only talking about mifepristone? Thank you, Jasmine Crockett, for walking us out of the show. You've been listening to A Satellite View. The trial begins tomorrow. It is jury selection. There won't be live coverage. There will be people tweeting about it probably. The actual trial won't get started until they pick a jury. But it's very important that we get over that line of beginning. Choosing the jury is part of the trial. We just need to get a trial started. Trump has been delaying. When this starts tomorrow morning, it is on. He tried at least 11 times that I've heard of to try and delay this trial. I believe 4 times within the last week. All of those attempts have been denied. He will be sitting in a courtroom tomorrow morning for his first criminal trial. And it's looking more and more like he is not going to legitimize the $175 million bond. The clock ends on stopping Letitia James, the Attorney General of New York, from seizing his assets. That might begin tomorrow as well. So, big barrel of popcorn time. But we still need to be patient. Hey, at least the weather's getting nicer. So, again, thanks for listening, and we'll talk to you next week.
You've been listening to A Satellite View with Todd Mikkelson. Go to toddmikkelson.com for links and more information.